Welcome back to Medrash Umaisa. This week sharing a special story for Purim and also connecting to the upcoming Parsha, Parshas Tzav. The story was told by Rav Melech Biderman Shlita and takes us back to Yerushalayim pre-World War II, to the base Medrash of Hasidei Karlin. Now, one of the Karliner Rebbes, Rabbi Avram Elimelech of Karlin, traveled to Eretz Yisrael multiple times before World War II. In fact, it was well known that his final visit was already when the war had broken out. His Hasidim tried to convince him not to return, but he insisted on going back to be with his people in their time of trouble. One of his Hasidim was a young man, was married, and as the years passed, he and his wife did not have children. Each time he had the opportunity to come before the Rebbe, who would give him a kvittel, his name, his wife's name, and the bakosha, for Zera Shel Kayama, for children. The Rebbe always answered in a very unenthusiastic way. Sometimes he didn't even answer at all. Nonetheless, the Chassid did not lose his hope, his spirit, and he continued to ask his Rebbe for a bracha. One year on Purim in Yerushalayim, he walked into the base medrash of the Karliner Hasidim, who were sitting besimcha and fulfilling the mitzvah of the Mesibas Hayayin, the Mishtah Hayayin on Purim, and their bottles were empty. In their good mood, they said to this young man, they said, if you go and get us some mashke, we are giving you a bracha that you should have a child this year. He went off and he got them a couple of bottles. They were very thankful, and the simcha went on, and the chassid forgot about it. Later that year, he had an opportunity to come before his Rebbe, and he put forward the usual kvittel, asking to be blessed with Zera Shel Kayama. And the Rebbe looked at it, and he said, you've already had a Yeshua. You have the gates opened to have children. He said, who did this for you? Who gave you this bracha? And the chassid thought, he said, you're the only person I've come to for a bracha. The Rebbe said, try to think, try to remember, somebody did something here. And he thought, and finally he remembered that story on Purim. He said, Rebbe, well, it happened to be on Purim. The boys were out of mashke, and I went to get them some, and they gave me this bracha. And the Rebbe smiled, and he said, I'll read the Yiddish just to get the flavor of it. He said, Oy bazoy is poshet. If so, he said, that's simple. He says, Me haben geguckt, haben mir gesehen, as sie nicht shaykh. He said, I looked at your situation, meaning looking in the spiritual way, and I saw that it was not possible for you to have children. He said, but Yidden sitzen zusammen, when Jews sit together, when sie wissen von gar nicht, and they don't know about anything else in the world aside from the joy of being together with love and praising Hashem on Purim. He says, kennen sie als boikea sein. They can break through any barrier bis zum Kis Yaakov, up to the divine throne of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is the power of Purim and of the togetherness and the love and the simcha and the hodah that's supposed to be there on Purim. Interestingly, the Avnei Nezer, the first Sochotchover Rebbe, says about the Korban Todah described in our Parsha, Parshas Tzav, that a person had to bring a very large amount of bread with his Korban Todah. And the bread had to be eaten in a very short time. Yom v'layla, ad chatzos. You had the morning, the day, and the nighttime until midnight. Why give a person such a challenge of having so many carbs? He said, because inevitably a person's going to share that bread with other people. Say, here's bread for my Korban Todah, and they'll say, really? What was your Korban Todah for? And he'll share what he's thanking Hashem for, and they'll rejoice together with him. And that is the purpose of all that bread, specifically for the Korban Todah. Wishing everyone a Freilichen Purim and a wonderful Shabbos. Kol Tuv.